Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Dycart, and this is 15 tips for Crusader Kings 3. So most of these tips are things that I've either heard online or found out through playing, but they're definitely things that I wish I had known when I started playing the game. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Crusader Kings 2, so I don't know how much of this stuff would have been found in that as well. But anyway, off we go. So the first thing that I see a lot of people frustrated with are the tooltips. So they've done a great job. Let's open this up. They've done a great job of making it so that the tooltips have highlighted words. So like right there, you can see supply limit 4,205. The words supply limit are kind of blue highlighted, which means you can usually mouse over those to get more information. All right. So for instance, you go in here and everything's blue. But if I go here and go, I want to see that, it disappears. Okay. Now the default settings in the game are based on time. So if you hold your mouse there for just a second, you can watch this outline around the thing. Okay, hold it for just a second. I didn't mean around this thing. I mean around the tooltip itself when it pops up. You see that? You can see a little wave go from the bottom to the top, and then the outline comes in solid. So a wave goes all the way up, and then it becomes solid. So I'll do it again. Watch for the wave. See it? Solid. So that's the default settings. So once you do that, if you hold it there long enough, then you can mouse over all the other things. Now, I personally don't like that. So one way you can change it, if you also don't like it, is you go into your settings, go into the game, and tooltip mode is on timer lock. Now you can change the lock delay because right now it's 1.5 seconds. You can lower it and stuff like that. You can do an action lock, which is what I do, which is where you press the middle mouse to unlock and lock tooltips. So I change action lock, then I go back into the game. Okay. And then I have the same problem with the tooltip, but if I mouse over and just really quick press my middle mouse button, now it's here. Then I can press it again to get rid of it. Okay. So boom, it's here. It can do everything. I don't have to see, it's here. It stays here. But once I pull my mouse off of the tooltip, you see how it goes away? So you don't have to click the middle mouse button a second time to have it go away. It'll go away when the cursor leaves the area. So it's a really cool way to get more information on all the tooltips and stuff that you want. See, and you can see how you can go in here and I can just keep stacking them basically to get more information. Okay, cool stuff. Really cool. Okay, next is pinning information. This little outliner here, most Paradox games have this. You can pin information here to get quick information about it. By default, your holdings are already pinned. So right here, I have 3 holdings with this guy, and I can just go through them really quick. Okay, so that's always nice. You can get mods that'll give you more information, so your tax and your levies and stuff will just be on this list if you wanted. But this is vanilla. So domain holdings, that's fine. So pinned characters. So let's say I'm really worried about, I don't know, this guy for some reason. I can select him and I can pin him. And now he's here. So I can go be anywhere on the map. I can look at this guy, just get a brief, or I can click him to bring him up. So it's one way to pin. Another way to pin would be, let's find another guy. I can right click on him and then choose the pin icon there, and that brings him up. So now I can toggle between these people as often as I want. So if there's somebody you really want to kind of keep an eye on or something, that's a really good way to do it. And then all you have to do is unpin them with those. Okay. This works with armies as well. If I click to raise my army, and I raise my army, it'll show it here. And I'll go over later how you can have multiple armies and it'll list them all. And you can quickly go in between all the armies and select them with that. And you can really get more information that way. So anyway, yeah, we're going to disband all. So that's the pinning. It's really, really nice for getting around quickly and getting information that you really want to get to without having to go through a bunch of menus and stuff. Okay, the next thing is, I just think it's kind of a cool feature, but it might be more niche. For those people that actually don't want to play just as a single ruler, okay, you can hit escape and switch characters. So when you switch character, you can choose someone else and then click play, and then you'll start playing as them. So some people might want to play as 2 or 3 rulers just for the challenge. Maybe you don't have 2 copies of the game and you've got someone sitting right next to you. You can pause the game, you do your orders, switch characters, let them do their orders, and then keep the game going. So you can actually play hot seat multiplayer that way. Another way, I guess it would be kind of cheaty, but it might be worth it, is, say I want to find out, I'm going to attack down here and I want to find out this guy's best knight. I can click on it, or not click on it, but I can switch to him. Okay, and now I have him, and now I can look at his knights and go, oh, this guy is his best knight. Let's see if pinning it'll work. Let's pin him. Okay. I've never tried this before, but now we've got that guy pinned, so we know we've got his best knight pinned. Okay, so let's switch back to the guy we were in the beginning, and let's see, is it still here? Yes. So now, if we want to, we can right-click and do a murder scheme to get rid of his best knight, or something like that. So that's another way to do switching characters. If you wanted to go that route. I don't know that that's something I would usually do, but I do think it's kind of strange that you can't see the people that are in the court and the knights that are working for the other people. It seems, maybe I'm wrong, but that seems like something that would be information that you could get. Even if it would just send your spy in and have them get a roster for you, that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, on to our next thing, the barber shop. A lot of people don't know about this. You can actually customize what your people look like. So right here, you right-click on your person, and then right here is the barbershop. So you can open the barbershop, and you can change all sorts of stuff about them. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. That's just, I mean, you can change all sorts of stuff from there. Full beard, goatee. So you can really make them look different. If you want. So it's kind of a cool little way of messing around if you want to really specialize the game a little bit. Okay, so next would be changing your education focus. So once your children reach 6 years old, they begin their education. So like this guy's 4, that's 5, there's a 6-year-old son. So now when I select the son, I can then change his education focus with this little icon over here. It's not really prevalent. It's not something you can get to, it's not in here, but you can change the focus. And the 5 normal skills are the focuses: stewardship, martial, intrigue, diplomacy, learning. Okay. Now the game tends to do a pretty good job of choosing it by default. So that, like here, this guy's bossy. Bossy children often do well with martial. So it picked martial as the education focus, which is good. But sometimes you want to have a little bit more control. So you could change it, like click here and choose focus. And now they're focused on something different. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, the next thing is you can actually change the focus of adults as well, like their lifestyle focus. So let's choose this guy that works for me. It has to be somebody that works for you. Right here, I can change him. He's a scholarship focus. And if I want to, I can change what he's going to focus on. Oh, this guy, it's not going to let me. Yeah, okay. Well, it didn't let me on this guy. But I can at least see what they have and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know why it won't let me on this guy. It let me on somebody earlier. But that's how you could do it. With your focus, you can... you don't have to select your guy. See, there's no button here like there are on the other people. Instead, for you, your focus is this right here. Okay. And you can choose whatever you want. So like, because I have an education in diplomacy, I'd get more experience in that lifestyle. So I can choose that, choose a focus, and then I can mess around and, level this up. It requires some time, but you can change your focus as often as you want with time in between. So right there, if you look at that tooltip, it says it is too soon to change focus again. Wait until the 20th of September, 1071. So it makes you wait, what is that, 5 years? Makes you wait 5 years. But every 5 years you can change, and sometimes that can be very useful because you only want just a little bit of a tree of one focus type to help you out a little bit, and you can switch to a new lifestyle focus. All right, so that's how you can change focuses. All right, so dynasty and house names. A lot of people don't realize this either. You don't have to just select someone and go. A lot of the times their names are like King Malcolm III Canmore of Scotland. You know, a lot of times you don't really care for that, right? So what you can do is go right down here to the house. Okay, this is the house that this guy controls. When I click on this, I can click this right here, and I can rename the house. And then you can have a new motto. Okay, so House Fun Times. I can also rename the dynasty. Okay. So now I control House Fun Times of the Fun Times Ahead dynasty. So your dynasty is going to be something that's going to go on through the game after you have multiple heirs and you're controlling different people. And the house is going to be basically each person. So when you have a new person take over, they might have a slightly different house. But you can change the names of your dynasty and your house, which is really nice. I appreciate that. And you can get mods to rename your characters and stuff too, which is kind of cool. Makes it a lot easier sometimes. Well, I wouldn't say easier, but fun, more immersive for me to name them and they're my person. So anyway, that's how you can change that. The 8th tip is creating a new faith. That you do in a similar way. You can go down here to your faith tab, click on it, and down at the bottom, you can create a new faith. So you click that, you can name your faith. Okay, all sorts of naming options. You can choose your icon of your faith. Hopefully they'll have more, or maybe there'd be some mods where you could get more, but you can change your tenets for the faith, okay? And you can change the doctrines. So they all have selectable things. Now, as you can see, they all cost piety. So whatever you're going to do, it's going to cost you a lot of piety to create your own faith. But you create your own faith, then you're the head of that faith, and you can kind of spread it around and control things that way. All right. Another thing that can be confusing, and this happened to me the first time I was playing, I went out really quick and grabbed myself a wife. Turns out my wife was gay. And so there was less of a chance that we were going to have children. Now we still did, because the way this game works is even if you're gay or your wife's gay or you're both gay, you still know that you have a duty to create children. So you will at some point try to, most likely. It is relatively random and based on stats and stuff like that. So anyway, how to check your character's sexual orientation is this right here. There's a little icon. Okay. And there's multiple. Let's see, which ones do they have here? Hetero, homo, bi, and A. Okay, so want to make sure that you check those if you want to make your life a little bit easier before you pick a spouse or something like that. Okay. So next would be court guests. This is something I didn't realize right at the very beginning. When you click on your court, the top part are guests. They're not actual members of your court. Your court you have to scroll down to. Now, you may have a leader somewhere that doesn't have any guests at the moment or something like that, but the guests will come and go. So it's good to go in periodically and look and see if there's somebody in here that's somebody you might want to keep. Like he's got a 9 prowess. I wouldn't want him as a knight. He's pretty good at martial though, so maybe I would take him and have him be my marshal. So it's worth looking through these guys periodically and grabbing them. The other thing that's nice is you can look through them and find like this guy is unmarried. So maybe I need a male to try to bring in a female for my court or something like that. I can invite this guy to the court, which it costs money. Okay, so I would pay him 10 gold and recruit him to my court. Now I can use him, since he's a member of my court, to bring in someone else if I wanted to, marry him off, find him a spouse. So that's a good thing about your court and the guests. that I didn't recognize. And now, speaking of all that, let's go into magnet marriages. So let's say we're just starting out and I decide, okay, I want to get my council as good as I can. Well, if you look right now, this steward only has 8 stewardship. That's not very good. So we can click appoint steward. Look at this. Okay, I could get a 15 here. Okay, that's one option. But going back to what I was talking about before, is I can find a female. Well, first let's see. Is there anyone with a high stewardship? 15? No. Okay, so 15. So there's no one that's in my guests here that are really going to have a high stewardship. And all these are male. So they're not going to help me. So I have to look for a female, because to be a steward in the game, unless you have a certain religion or if you've gone into the game settings and changed it, you have to be a male. Okay, so right here, she is unmarried. So for a magnet marriage, that would be me right-clicking on someone in my court, someone under my direct control, and choosing find a spouse. Okay, so now I want to find a steward. So I'm going to go here. Ignore that for a second. I'll talk about it in a minute. I want to find the best steward I can. Okay, so I go, oh, wait a second. I didn't want to do that yet. What I want to do is I want to go into my council and I want to make sure that my wife is helping me as much in diplomacy as possible, because that's going to help me find better people. Typically, and by default, it's assist ruler. Now, if I mouse over, you see this gives me +1 diplomacy. So I can change to court politics to get a +3 just for a little bit of a bump and then go look for people. Now, it's not necessary that you do that, but that's just a little bonus tip thing if you want to look for get the best possible person you can. So anyway, so I'm finding a spouse and I want a steward. So I click here. There's a 21 steward. Of course, you would normally check and be like, yeah, this is the type of person I want. Click on them. Not going to be a good night, but might be a really good steward. Okay. So if I choose this guy and I send a proposal, the default setting in the game is all marriages go to the male. So this guy is not a part of my domain. He's not one of my courtiers. So this woman would actually leave my court and go to him. That's not what I want. I want him here so that he can be my steward. So I have to change this to a matrilineal marriage. Okay, that means that he will come to her instead of her going to him. And that also means, of course, since she's in my realm, he's going to come to my realm. So you can send that proposal, and then once he arrives and he accepts, okay, now he's here. So now when I go into my council and I go to steward and I sort, there he is right there, and I can accept him. Now I have a much better steward. So that's really, really good to know. Your spy master can be a male or a female. Everything else in here, well, not the queen, but all these other ones have to be male, okay, by default in the most of the game, depending again on what religion and where you're at and what you've changed in the settings. But by default, that's it with all just default settings. They have to be male. So the only person that can be female is your spy master and your court physician. Okay, and for your court physician, you can literally choose anyone. You can have someone magnet marry in, or just choose anyone and go down under here and choose vassalage and court and go to the more and appoint them as a court physician. That saves you the money of searching for a physician, because when you do this, it's going to cost you money, and you'll be presented with someone that will be okay candidates, but they're usually not good. So you're better off magnet marrying someone in that you want. So anyway, those are the court physician and spy master can be women. All right, so the next tip is finding characters using the filter. So let's go back to our council, and we want a better spy master. Okay, we know we can make them women. So let's go here. Let's go to our court and find a male. Here's an unmarried knight. Okay, so I find him a spouse, but I want it to be an intrigue. Okay, but let's say I want something special about her. Like I can use this filter. Okay, and let's say I don't know, let's say I want her to be a giant. I can start typing in giant, and anything that's related to that will appear. So I can click on this, and that will limit the search to only people with the giant trait. Now you can look for, the congenial traits that people want, and like genius and stuff like that, if you wanted to, depending. But that's how you can use the filter for that. You can just start typing stuff in and then select something. You can change their age, all that stuff, fertility, health, religion, culture. One thing that is used quite a bit, I would imagine, is alliances. And you can go here and say alliance, and it would only show characters in here that you would get an alliance with another country for taking that on. Of course, we're not finding any right here. Okay. You can also do the same thing for if they have any claims. But here's a big issue. Always, after you've done anything in this window, always reset to defaults. Because otherwise you'll get in here and then you'll forget, and the next time you're searching for someone, you won't be finding people and it'll suck. So switch that over. Okay, so we've got this person. We want her to be our spy master so we can send the proposal. Okay, so that's the filter. Make sure you always reset that filter. Otherwise, it's going to cause you problems. Okay, last few points here are all related, and they're probably the biggest issues I see people complaining about in the forums right now. And that is waypoints. Okay, so you always start out with one waypoint, this red one here. And once you have it selected, you can right-click anywhere in your land and move it. Okay, and wherever you move it to, when you raise your armies, that's where they're going to appear. Okay, now this is where most people get confused. Most people are upset that the only choice is raise all armies. That is the only choice by default because you only have one waypoint. So if you create a second waypoint by clicking this button right here, I call it waypoint, it's rally point. Okay, click on that. Now I have another one, and I can choose where it's going to be. So let's put it like down here. Okay, so now I have one near my main castle and one down here. Like say I'm going to go to war down here, so I have this one. So now I have a choice. When I click on this rally point, I can raise all my armies there, or I can raise local armies, which will only raise people within a certain range of that rally point. Okay, so that's one way to make sure that you don't raise all of them. Because a lot of times you'll raise all of them, you'll go to war down here, and then this guy will send someone on a boat up and around here, and he'll come down and he'll attack your main place, or start sieging other places, and your army's clear down here, and you're like, crap. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. You make a couple waypoints, and you only raise local armies at those waypoints. That's an easy way to control, and that gives you more armies here that you can raise that are local. Okay, so that's a big thing about waypoints. I don't know how many the max is that you can have. Let's see. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, you look at all these waypoints you can make, right? Easy peasy. Okay, so it's worth it to create multiple waypoints. Again, you can select a waypoint and change it, move it wherever you want. So if you want to pause the game, move your waypoint, that's fine. But remember, if you're only using one waypoint, rally point, if you're only using one, your only option is raise all or raise local. Or raise all, I mean, because, it's like there's only one rally point, raise everybody to it. Now, here's the other thing about waypoints. Whether you have one or multiple rally points. Man, I keep calling them waypoints. All right, so say I raise my army, okay, and they're all coming in. Here they are. Okay, my army is here. I can, I've raised everyone there, so there would be no one to raise at this one. Okay, because they're already raised, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. But I raised all on purpose. So I'm here, and I have this army at this rally point. Or I can use this now. So here's my army. Okay, I have them selected. Now you can arrange these armies how you want. People have been complaining that I don't like the idea that they're all just jumbled together. I can go down here and I can switch my commander. Maybe I'm on the attack and I want somebody that has a siege bonus. So I want to make sure that they have a siege. Or maybe I'm on the defense and someone's attacking me and I want somebody that's going to have a defensive bonus. There's all sorts of reasons to choose different people to run the army. But one thing you can do, okay, is you can split in half, or split off a new. So say if I split off new, right, I can basically make 2 armies now, and I get to choose. These are all the different levies and the knights that I can choose to go over. So let's say before I go to battle or anything like that, let's say I've gone in here and I want a new men-at-arms regiment, and I want these onagers because I'm going to be attacking and sieging. Okay, well, I don't have the money for this right now. Darn it, I don't have the gold for that. But I could select this and have the men-at-arms, and then when I raised the armies, okay, and I went in here and I split off new army, one of the options would be that onagers unit. So I could move it over here and with some other people and be like, this is my siege army. This is my run around and, kill random guys army, whatever. So that's one way to split your armies. You can also just split it in half and it just makes 2 armies. And if you look right here, they're both here. So you can select the 2 different armies. You can also select them here. Okay. Back and forth, so I can select one army and move it, and the other army will stay. Okay, so that's one way to do it. You can also disband armies if you want to disband a specific one. You can disband armies. You can split off hired and special soldiers. If I put let me get the clock moving again, and let me get my armies all together. I can't. Like I moved them and they split into different locations. Okay, so now when I select both armies and I have this here, now I have the option to reorganize or merge. So if I click merge, they're going to combine back into one big army. But I can reorganize, and it brings up this same window, and now I can move people back and forth in the windows. So if I went half of my knights in left and half of my knights in the right one, I can. Okay. I can select them individually. I can disband them. So you can actually do a lot more with the armies than people think. So anyway, I know that was a long video. That was the last and 15th tip. I know it was a little bit longer video than most people would like, just to hear some tips, but I wanted to explain a little bit more than just you click on this and go here. So anyway, that is going to be it. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helped you out. If it did, please hit that like button. It helps me out. I appreciate any comments that you guys have. You can ask questions. I honestly am not great with this game, and I don't have a lot of in-depth knowledge, so I'll answer what I can. Hopefully some other viewers might see the comments and answer them if you have any questions. But maybe there's better ways to do some of these tips that I've found, and somebody could give that information in the comments. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.